Hi there, I'm NEMESI5, and this is the Apatros review. One of my favorite genres of film, while spending the second half of my childhood in the golden age of VHS in the 1990s, was action-based synthetica. Synthetica is my term for movies about robots, androids, and cyborgs. If you want to spell it, just synthetic with an A. My love for this genre started with the likes of RoboCop and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I saw both for the first time while living in Yugoslavia in the late 1980s. My father bought me a VHS of RoboCop as a Christmas present, while Terminator 2 was first introduced to my eyes by way of my uncle's bootleg VHS copy. In the 90s were the perfect decade for me to grow up in, as the sheer onslaught of direct-to-video synthetica hit the video store shelves and gained a reputation amongst fans of B-grade sci-fi and action. The biggest name in this particular subgenre was Albert Pyun, who made a total of 7 such movies during the span of the 90s, adding up to a grand total of 8 when you include Cyborg, which was the first of Pyun's synthetica and was made in 1989. I'm not including Cyborg Nemesis: The Dark Rift, as that film remains incomplete and unreleased, following Pyun's mandatory retirement from filmmaking due to dementia and his death in 2022. Rest in peace, Mr. Pyun, and a deep thanks for the kick-ass movies he gave us fans. The strange thing is that Pyun's best synthetica, and overall as well, the awesome 1992 cyberpunk action-adventure Nemesis, was a film I only saw for the first time in 2002. I had come across VHS tapes many times during the decade before, but I was never allowed to even rent it due to my parents' strictness. That first time in 2002 was when I managed to rent the tape myself. By that time I already signed up as a member to almost every single video store in the Fayetteville area, as opposed to spending the previous decade only renting VHS tapes from the Greenfield Park Top Video from my stepmother's membership. And I was amazed at the top quality B-grade action stunts, some excellent practical visual effects. This is why CG effects will never win me over, unless there's a T1000 morphing effects than T2. And some crazy scenes, like the insane shootout in the opening act of the film, and the scene where Olivia Grunner makes a quick getaway by getting to his motel bathroom, shooting the shit out of the floor, and improvising an escape tunnel by falling for each floor, blowing holes through them with his MP5 submachine gun. The other strange thing about this was I actually watched the entire series backwards. I rented NEMESIS5 Death Angels when I visited Serbia back in early 2001 for my grandmother's funeral, and rented Nemesis2 Nebula and Nemesis3 Timelapse for the first time about a couple of months before I rented the original. While it will be quite a long while before I get to the first 2 Nemesis films, in a matter of maybe a year or so before I do Timelapse and Death Angel, my provisional advice for you is that the original is the best and is a kick-ass movie. Nebula is a surprisingly solid action movie despite looking like a cheap knockoff Predator. Timelapse is below average at best, and Death Angel is weird as fuck and feels like all you get if you cross the fake with a fetish porno. Reviewing that last one will be a weird experience for me, that's for sure. And by the way, I actually have, in my collection, I have the theatrical print of Nemesis for the VHS I recorded onto DVD, and I have the direct disc, actually a hybrid version, direct disc kind of theatrical print, and the sequels on a British DVD box set. Now that I've established my history with the Nemesis franchise, let's move on to the subject of this particular review, which is an utterly unholy, ultra-low-budget, woke-age piece of crap, which was the only Nemesis Pyun did not direct at all. Made by Dustin Ferguson, a schlock filmmaker who doesn't seem to understand the basics of storytelling at all, and who peddles cheap crap while cheating movie fans out of their hard-earned money with movies that look like they were made by rank amateurs or rookie YouTubers, NEMESIS5, the new model, or as I like to call it, NEMESI5, due to the title, because the 5 replaces the second S, is absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I don't even consider it as canon in the Pyun universe. NEMESIS5, the new model, or NEMESI5, the new model, from now on I'm going to refer to as NEMESI5, was initially released on the 1st of December 2017 in the United States. It had its DVD released there on the 11th of June 2019. Now my copy was, I imported the American DVD of it. That appears to be the only release of it anywhere. It was directed by Dustin Ferguson, written by Mark Reeb, who also produced the film. Photography was by Matthew Higginbottom and Guy White, and music was by Diane Azura, Aidan Casserly, and Rob Robinson. The cast includes Shuilar Craig. What kind of name is Shuilar? Shuilar Craig, Mel Novak, Donnelly Hazing, sorry about that. Sue Price, Zach Muse, or Muzz, Robert Langford and Jenny Caroline. Now, the first thing I should mention before recounting the synopsis is that while Ferguson and his writer Mike Reeb have completely reversed the historical nature of the belligerent parties in the Nemesis series. In the first film, the Red Army Hammerheads were actually the heroes of the film, fighting a war of resistance against the cyborgs who infiltrated the Los Angeles Police Department. The Hammerheads were defeated by the time of the second film, but the surviving members sent a genetically engineered superhuman child back in time to 1980s Africa to keep her safe from the cyborgs, who sent one of their best bounty hunters, the Nebula, to capture her. And by the way, Nebula was originally played by the bloke who directed John Wick films. Just to let you know. Of course, he quit halfway through the production. And that set up the plot for the first two sequels. The fourth film, Death Angel, has Alex now working as a hitwoman for organized crime after the cyborgs and humans end the War of Atrocious. Here in NEMESI5, the Red Army Hammerheads are terrorists modeled after real-life Antifa terrorists, and the Los Angeles Police Department are the good guys who are badly in need of help. Now, technically this is not woke, as the Antifa element is shown to be evil from the outset. There are no forced diversity in the casting, and there are no homosexual elements in the film either. Okay, well, aside from the pathetic attempt to replay the original scene in the original film, where the original Alex nailed a chip smuggler with her own gun after making out, here played with the female protagonist making out with another woman, which delivers some cheap titillation without any explicit sex or even nudity. But the execution is a pile of bullshit. This time, Ari Frost, a human woman from the future who is Alex Sinclair's adopted daughter, nice to see Sue Price return for a cameo here, goes back in time to 2077 to prevent the emerging Red Army Hammerheads from establishing their empire of cyber socialism 20 years later. Working with the local LAPD-backed resistance group, Frost is on the verge of tracking down the leader of the Red Army Hammerheads, but first she needs to take a road trip to the Red Army Hammerheads headquarters, which is in the desert, while pursued by Nebula, here depicted by a fat bloke wearing a hysterically bad Tron cosplay suit and cheap CGI glowing effects. You'll be laughing your ass off once you get a load of that cyber bullshit. Shot in full scope, although instead of using 235 here they use 225, which is interesting, which already gets my expectations low since B-grade filmmakers abusing full scope ratios for their cheap movies is a 2010s plague that still goes on in the 2020s. By the way, if I ever shoot a movie, I'll make a point using 185 or even good old-fashioned 133. We have a plethora of industrial music songs on the soundtrack to appeal to the Revit heads out there. NEMESI5 is one of the very worst synthetica I've ever seen. Even bad movie masochists up for a challenge, like me, will be shaking our heads in despair as this unholy beast proves an example of why low-budget filmmaking went downhill halfway through the 2010s. The acting is badly unconvincing, the dialogue is recorded by means of a tin can, the movie is only 70 or so minutes long but is filled with an unholy amount of padding, including 2 separate sets of opening credits within the film's first 10 minutes. And the visual effects? Well, I rest my case once you see that $2 shop version of the Nebula cyborg. The Nebula in the original Nemesis 2 Nebula looked awesome. Here it looks shit. This should never have been issued in this state, and I sincerely hope Dustin Ferguson and Mike Reeb retire from the filmmaking scene, as they have pissed off many Pioneerverse fans, and fans of tonight's action synthetic in general. What an absolutely shit movie. I give this a D-, 1 out of 10. It's atrocious. Now for gore nudity, absolutely none of either, which is a real shame. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. So NEMESIS5, the new model, or NEMESI5, as I like to call it, gets a D-, 1 out of 10. It's crap. And you can, if you really want to get this film, your choice, the American DVD, which is actually one that's printed on a DVD-R, get from America, don't know the label of the company that made it, but it's got interviews with Sue Price and Shirley Lara Craig, the film's trailer, and a music video. And a couple other trailers for other Dustin Ferguson films. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, comments, or associated trivia for this review subject, leave in the comments. I'll be happy to respond. Hope you guys are staying safe, take it easy, and that's it for this review. See ya.